Hey everybody, it's Joric. Welcome back. Hope you're doing great wherever you are in the world. I want to talk a little bit today about healthcare in the country you're going to be moving to. And maybe not so much the healthcare, but health services. Because more likely than not, you're going to be a little older as you're watching this video and you're considering a move someplace. And as we all know, as we age, things can happen to not work properly, fall apart, you name it, and you're going to need potentially some medical services along the way. And I would like to know from you, how much time are you putting into researching surgeries, medical care, rehabilitation in the country that you're looking to move to? Often when you move someplace, as we did, you're looking at healthcare options, trying to find out what the government offers as far as a potential healthcare option once you've emigrated and you become a resident in the country. But also, many countries offer private types of insurance that you can purchase. And in some cases, sometimes visas are part of that visa process is to apply for and secure some private insurance. So as you're looking at all of those options, do you think about, what happens if I have a surgery or, heaven forbid, you have like a heart attack or you have some issue, cancer, while you're abroad? And, have you thought through what you would do or how you would approach that if that happens? And the reason I ask that is, in some cases, for people that we know that have lived overseas or are living there currently, some of them go back to their home country for those services and those treatments and surgeries. They may still have a tie insurance-wise, they may still have that ability, and because there's a familiarity with those programs and how, let's say, the insurance works and whatnot, they feel more comfortable having those procedures done in the home country. Not everyone has that option. There's also just as many people, as we've found out, that have the surgery in the country that are in, or have the procedure, rehabilitation, you name it, and they move forward with their life and they move on with living. And I'm just curious what your thoughts are when you're considering a move, and for those of you that are already moved to a country, did, beyond looking at healthcare, which often you need to secure a plan or some option before moving, did you think about or think through, gosh, if I do have, something happens, myself, significant other, somebody has a stroke, thinking about, I hate to say it, some really bad scenarios, but most likely are going to be realistic and are going to come up while you're overseas or while you're over in another country, whether it be one country over or you're all the way, halfway around the globe. What are your thoughts on that? In our experience, I had a procedure done in Portugal, and we didn't think about that leading into the move or while we were there. We were more focused on what does the insurance give us. We did have private insurance. So what are the options, or what would we do if something were to happen? And we never really had a discussion going, hey, if one of us gets like a major or a chronic issue, should we go back home, or are we going to just deal with it here? Or maybe there's another country that might have some good treatments. And I wanted to give you some scenarios so that you had some points to ponder, but I'd love to get some feedback for people that have had procedures. Please don't need to know what you did. That's too much information, but just if you said, well, I had a procedure in this country, and here's some of the thoughts about it, or, we thought about going to another country, or we decided, hey, we were in this country, but we decided to go home for a surgery or a rehabilitation or something. I think it's really important to understand. But again, I had a surgery. It was pretty straightforward, in the hospital for a day and released, and thankfully that's all good. There are other people that we met, a couple that cancer related, oddly and just terrible, that both of them had cancer. They have gone back and forth to Germany for surgery, or for, I'll say, treatments, I guess. I don't know if it's technically surgeries. I think they've done treatments there, and they felt that was their best choice. Another person we know that's from Canada has had a series of surgeries overseas and seems to be doing well, and never thought twice about, well, I'm going to go home for one or some of these. It can be precarious and a little daunting because, okay, you hope you never need insurance, but like I said, as we get older, when it comes to like medical, something's going to happen where we will probably need it. So sometimes, the stress of working through the documentation and who do you notify and how the procedures work in another country can be a little bit worrisome. But there can also be trepidation of having a surgery in let's say an unknown place. For me, it wasn't much of a concern because I felt like the chances of having a good surgery where you were versus being home in a home country, thought were the same. I didn't think there was any better or worse options being in either place. But that does go through people's minds as we continue to speak to people that are living abroad, as well as people that have moved back to a home country. It seems like the majority of people we come in contact with are okay. It's part of living in a new place, having any type of medical procedure done. And I don't mean just medical. It could be a dental procedure, vision related, really anything to do with the body. That most people, they're in their new country, they're seeking services in that new country, and they don't think about going home. And they also rarely do they think about going to a third or fourth country to seek treatment. In the couple I mentioned that had cancer, they wanted to get some alternative methods, and it just so happened that Germany was the option. But for those of you, again, that have had surgery, or you are contemplating a move to a country, does the prospect of going through a surgery or going through maybe a short-term or long-term extended treatment, does that create a deal-breaking situation for you? Or do you say, nah, it's going to happen, and wherever things happen, wherever I'm at, I'm going to get treated for it, and then move on with my life? Please let us know. I think that as well as I'm making a series of videos of points to ponder and consideration when you're moving to another country, this is one that is going to probably impact 100% of the people that are going to move someplace. Sometime something's going to happen, and I think it's worth thinking through how you are going to handle that, and whether that will be comfortable for you in that new country, or if you feel like where you're at right now as you're watching this is the place that you would prefer to have a type of surgery. There's no right or wrong answer, just would love to get some commentary and some of your thoughts and opinions so the audience can kind of get a clear picture on what they may be looking at as they are looking to move to another country. As always, thank you so much for watching. Enjoy your travels.